Hi, my name is Pinakin and I'm a multidisciplinary designer living in Alibag near Mumbai. Uh, I was practicing in the city in a career that's spanned over 4 decades, and at some stage I started realizing that I was losing my alignment with uh, the whole. I had developed a lot of individual skills and insights and understandings, but it's only when I decided to quit that life and come and live within nature in Alibag that I got the real chance to commune with nature. Communing with nature reveals a lot of things. It replenishes your creative energy, and it always provides inspiration on remaining ever youthful, ever regenerative. And my sort of shared experience that I'd like to discuss with you is to say that where have we gone wrong? We've gone wrong only in small things individually, where each time we were given an option, we've chosen a more convenient and comfortable choice. In doing that, we thought we were progressing, but in spite of having all the technology, all the globalization, the freedom, whatever we say, a small germ has come and defeated us. So perhaps I think we should start examining what we ought to do on a day-to-day basis, even in small things, rather than repair the problem. And it is so holistic that it is like all interlinked. And today, if you try to repair the economy, you will need the labor. The migrant labor is feeling insecure and they are retreating home. One thing that I look forward to doing at the end of this is to try and open a workshop for my furniture production in near Banaras in UP, where most of my workers live. And I plan to commute once in 2 weeks and my staff to get work done out of them rather than bring all of them here. So if the government could designate pockets of work like that where the labor can be self-employed, it would be a long-term perspective in handling this. And the second advantage is that because they live with their families, they're not only emotionally happy, but 2 hours in the morning, they help the family in their fields, and we are an agricultural society, everything said and done. And the next time when we are searching for food, we don't want migrant workers stuck near our home, no food back there. In the landscape, what I'm trying to do these days is to remove decorative plants, and instead of that put edible produce in the same space, so that the precious resource of water and land is used not only for providing a visual comfort, but also has practical value in contributing to our food. This will have to translate even into high-rise vertical buildings, because we will have to do some research on vertical gardens or hydroponic farms, which can become screens eventually outside buildings, so that they produce food on the outside for people who live on the inside and control the temperature as well. So products, we will have to start sourcing things locally. I don't think there is any more value on searching for the exotic and putting it on the table. It's going to appear a bit stupid. So instead of that, I think the plus point is going to be on looking into your backyard and finding exotic things from there and sharing them with the rest of the world, because we simply can't afford to expand the carbon footprint, taking people, goods, ideas all over the world for no serious purpose. Politicians, economists, even religious leaders, they've all tried to improve life on this planet, and yet I don't think we've seemed to find a holistic solution which will see us up to the end, because just packing our bags and going to Mars is not going to be the right way to do it. So perhaps the creative community can rally together and put their soft power into play and guide people at the top, because we are the ones who observe life as it unfolds on a day-to-day basis. So if any of you who are listening would like to rally together, to put our heads together, to create a solution out of this crisis, it would be the most creative thing that we could ever hope to do. Because if we just go back to our desks and start making products all over again, it will just amount to innovation, valid today and obsolete tomorrow. So let's say even architecture, instead of doing smart cities and vertical cities, why can't we look at smaller clusters along highways where nobody is very far away from their home? The internet provides enough opportunity, but you'll have to watch out where to stop, because in our own culture, I have studied that the spinning of the earth in relation to the other planets around it itself creates a very, very healthy and vital geomagnetic force on which we've survived for centuries. Now, if we are going to interfere with that and keep jumping from 3G to 4G, 4G to 5G, and create internal inferences, who knows what else there is. So, if somebody high up in the government is listening, please let us come and make a presentation and offer a solution, because you've tried everything else. Give the chance to the creative community. I'm formulating for the first time a chapter in design called Essentialism. When the world was fully destroyed after the wars, Bauhaus, Walter Gropius, mid-century modernism, all these were based on how to rebuild the Western world economically, efficiently, and very quickly. And that's the time that concrete was invented, glass structures, the house became a machine to live in, and gadgets made life comfortable. That's a very, very long time ago. Almost 100 years have gone. So with this crisis, nobody knows how to respond to it. That crisis became an important chapter in the history of not only evolution but also design. Now it's up to us Indians to use our holistic sense that links up a reverence for life, all forms of life, because isn't it the same life that sleeps in the mineral, that stirs in the plant, that dreams in the animal, that is fully awake in man? So if man continues to use his gross intelligence that he shares with the other species, he's not going to reach anywhere. He has to now start opening up his consciousness and using his subtle intelligence and see where it guides him.